Free content acts both as a marketing tool and at the same time making it possible for people to have access to important, interesting or amusing content. Tom Reynolds is with the London Ambulance Service and is a blogger.
Well, I've always been interested in computers, and I found myself reading other people's blogs. Blogs about London, blogs about Toronto, blogs about people doing certain jobs. And I thought, well, it seems like fun, I'll have a go. Now, I only thought I'd last 6 weeks because I've got a very short attention span, but I kept it up and it just took off from there. Something must have happened in the publishing world. I think they'd just woken up to the idea of blogs and bloggers. And I got 3 separate approaches by 3 different publishing houses. I had to explain to the Friday Project exactly what Creative Commons was. It was a bit of a shock to them, to be honest. But once I explained it, they sat around for a bit. We went down to the pub, had a pint or 2, chatted about it, and they agreed that, yeah, it's a good idea. Initially I thought the book wouldn't sell well at all. I thought it might sell maybe a couple of thousand, mainly to people who read the blog. But it seemed to take off really well, and we ended up selling quite a lot of copies. In the UK we've had 3 or 4 reprints, and we've sold a total of about 30 to 40,000 copies. So that's a lot more than I expected it to be. We've recently sold the rights to publish an American version of the book, so that's now being published in America. I've sold the TV rights to a TV company. I'm still waiting for them to pay me. So by selling the rights, obviously it'd be lovely to have a TV programme, but I can't see it happening. It's a kind of strange world. However, we did sell the rights to the BBC for a radio play, and that was recently broadcast and was a pick of the day in, I think it was the Guardian newspaper. I think I first heard about Creative Commons through the Boing Boing blog and Cory Doctorow, who gets everywhere. And he's a big evangelist for Creative Commons. The best license for me was one where I would be attributed as the creator of the work. So it's an attribution license. That people wouldn't make money off of it, which is a non-commercial license. And that meant I could sell the rights to BBC Radio, to the TV production company. Yeah, if someone wanted to do a school play, that's fine. I won't send any lawyers after them. And share alike and derivatives. So the share alike means if you make something based off of my work, you have to share it under similar sort of rules. So you can't fence off and say, look, I did this with this work, it's now mine. And the derivatives means people can adapt the work. If someone wanted to read it and turn it into a podcast, they could. If someone wanted to translate it into another language, it's fine by me. When I was talking to the BBC and talking to the production company, and I explained that the original text was under Creative Commons, they didn't seem to mind at all, because they knew that as it was a non-commercial license, I could sell the rights to them to make money off of it. So they seemed quite happy about it. Initially, when I was looking at the contract and in negotiations, very short negotiations, I had no idea what standard royalty rates are. This was a completely new world for me. But my publishers pointed me in the direction of the Guild of Writers, and I asked around. I've got a few contacts here and there, and the royalty rates were absolutely normal. They were exactly the same as anyone would have offered. Publishing opened a number of doors anyway, and the Creative Commons, the Creative Commonsness of it meant that I could reach more people. and that was really important to me. I wanted to get my work out there, and as such, I think that's how I ended up getting the TV rights, the BBC radio play. I've done talks about writing, but also about the Creative Commons side of things, and that's great. Yeah, it's been a really positive experience, and it's really important for me that I keep writing under a Creative Commons license. The thing about Creative Commons that's important to me is that it's about culture, and it's about spreading that culture and keeping that culture safe. Since people have been telling stories to one another, speaking word of mouth, when they were just scribbling it down, putting it on cave walls, everyone had access to it, and there was this huge growth of human expression, human culture. And it was only really when the printing press arrived and it was easy to make copies of books that people started to really worry about keeping everything, keeping it theirs. It's mine, and you can only have a little bit of it, and you can only do so much with it. And while I can see it's important in a business sense, you know, don't get me wrong, I like people making money. It's also important to be open to culture and to let that culture grow and change without necessarily wrapping it all up with legal red tape. And that's what I like about Creative Commons.
And so we've seen how you can use the web to generate new sources of income and create sustainable business models. There are risks, and there's no established easy guidebook on how to go about it. But after looking at some solutions, you may decide to become part of this growing global phenomenon.